Apparently, people are getting fired for taking part in the office siren aesthetic in the office. And the office siren look was huge last year. It's a hyper feminine, glam take on regular corporate fashion. People will wear like fitted blouses, pencil skirts, heels, slick back buns. It's an almost editorial look. And it's really drawing inspiration from fictional characters like Miranda from The Devil Wears Prada, an iconic movie that many have watched. Allegedly, someone has gotten fired for dressing in this aesthetic at work.
People trying to dress up as office sirens and then coming on TikTok saying that they're getting fired is actually so hilarious, because it's like, girl, no, you don't have, like, that's not what work is for. Like office siren, just think of that. You're trying to be a siren in the office. Like in your workplace, you're trying to be a siren. Girl. What you are is written up.
And it did bring about another question for me, and that was whether Gen Z's aesthetic obsession was clashing with their real world professionalism. Because what I've noticed in the last year is that aesthetics have absolutely taken over Gen Z identity, and they may be learning the hard way that you can't always bring these TikTok trends or these TikTok aesthetics into real life. So let's discuss this trend. What's up YouTube, it's tinysey. If you find that you like this video, do not forget to subscribe, and welcome to my digital garden. So what exactly is the office siren aesthetic? We kind of covered it. It's a polished femme fatale take on professional or business wear. You could think of fitted pencil skirts, silk blouses that are, buttoned down a little bit instead of the standard business casual look that a lot of people go for. People might wear stilettos and high heels instead of flats or loafers, and they often have this flawless makeup look. They like to slick their hair back, at least if you can, instead of a more casual hairstyle and makeup look. And these aesthetics really are pulling from the classic femme fatales like a Sarah Bellum from the Powerpuff Girls, or even Margot Robbie in The Wolf on Wall Street. And both of these characters had that womanly allure to them. They were there for business, but they had that pull to them. And so the problem is that it's not actually how women dress within corporate workplaces. At least you don't often see women that look like that in your workplace. Most workplaces prioritize professionalism and practicality over personal style. And I'm noticing that that is where Gen Z might be struggling just a little bit. They're trying to find their personal style, but they also have to remember that it needs to fit into a real world work environment, not TikTok work environments. But I found that this is a struggle that women in particular have had for many years. So I'm finding that we can't really judge Gen Z super harshly for this office siren trend. And it's worth remembering that women's appearance in the workplace has been scrutinized and picked apart and controlled for over a century. So when women first entered the office in the early 20th century, they wore modest skirt suits that were similar to men's attire, but they maintained that femininity with the skirt. And in the 1950s, they brought the secretary look into popularity, and that was the pencil skirt with the blouse. And this outfit prioritized their appearance over their comfort, because you'll find that pencil skirts are not that comfortable. And in the 1960s, women fought for their right to wear pants in the workplace, yes. And in the 1980s, the suits with the exaggerated padded shoulders started to become very popular. And this was women's attempt to sort of claim their space in a male-dominated corporate culture. And research consistently shows us that women face a much narrower range of what is appropriate attire in comparison to men. And that's because men's bodies just aren't as sexualized as women's bodies are. Women end up being judged negatively for dressing too feminine or if they dress too masculine, so they honestly just can't win. And then women of color faced additional trouble. If they had their natural hair, this was deemed as unprofessional. Whether that was braids, locks, or even an afro, they oftentimes had to conform, whether that was by straightening their hair or making it look more tame. But this led to legislation like the Crown Act, which protects people against hair discrimination. Thank God. So when we're talking about these inappropriate workplace aesthetics, we also have to acknowledge that young women are navigating a terrain that's always judged women's appearances. The only difference is that they're doing it in the social media age, where personal styles are more exaggerated and sometimes can be performative. So if you travel back in time about a decade ago, there were maybe only 5 or 6 mainstream aesthetics. There were things like punk, preppy, grunge, and boho. But now if you go on social media, there's literally an aesthetic for everything. Just to name a few, we have coastal grandma, linen, neutrals, vacations in the Hamptons type of vibe. We have the downtown girl, and this is a moody, indie, urban sort of aesthetic. We have the Scandinavian minimalist, and this is a clean, neutral colored, simple but sleek fashion. We have mob wife, tomato girl, vanilla girl, ballet core. Honestly, the list just never ends. If you are looking for an aesthetic, trust and believe that you will be able to find one. And what we've been realizing is that for Gen Z, aesthetics isn't just about their style, it's also about the identity that comes along with it. Social media has turned fashion into a personality test. So the way that you dress determines the kind of content you consume, the kind of food that you eat, the brands you wear, and even the lifestyle that you aspire to have. And that's where these aesthetics start to get complicated and they lose me, because what happens is they're super hyper specific and curated, and they don't necessarily fit into the real world. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think aesthetics can be fun and they can help people express themselves or even discover a style that they may want to explore. Aesthetics can make you feel confident knowing there's a whole community behind the aesthetic that you've chosen. Since it's so curated, it takes a lot of the analysis paralysis out of it. There's nothing really to think about because it's already packaged for you. But I found that there can be a huge difference between fashion you've taken via an aesthetic versus fashion you've created by just living your life. And as you spend time in your workplace, you just naturally discover how you want to dress, whether that's more masculine or more feminine. Now, the office siren aesthetic looks amazing on TikTok, don't get me wrong. But in real life, it's definitely causing people some issues. So let's take a look at those stories in question.
Office siren? Office siren? Oh, this outfit is so office siren core. Bitch! You're an walking HR violation.
Yeah, so that's the video that really set it off. She posted this video and then everyone just started reacting. But there was a story within these comment sections that everyone is talking about. We have a college credit paid intern position that goes straight to a 6-figure salary job at graduation. This girl wore an office siren outfit day 2 and was immediately fired for it. And yes, we can fire somebody for that. It's in the contract she signed when taking the job. Literally lost a guaranteed $200K comfy job over a leather miniskirt and tube top combo. Of course, it's up to the reader to determine whether they actually believe this story or not. But essentially, if this is true, losing a guaranteed $200K position because you wore a leather miniskirt and tube top combo, it's quite unfortunate. As someone that works in corporate, there definitely are handbooks for how you are supposed to dress. Most jobs, actually, it doesn't have to be corporate. Any job you work, there is a handbook and there is a section on dress code. So it's unfortunate that she lost her job because it feels like it could have been prevented by reading the handbook. Now, did TikTok do their thing and find the person? They thought they did. But that person quickly responded saying, no, this story is not about me. So it's still unknown who this person is and whether this story is actually true. But there are actually some real stories about people losing their job over wearing the office siren aesthetic. So let's look at another story. Influencer shares the outfit that got her sued by a woman who got fired for wearing it to work. Kaylin, an influencer and adult model, often posts office siren inspired outfits on social media. While she doesn't work in a traditional office environment, it seems that at least one woman who does took her outfit inspo a bit too seriously. The woman was fired for what she wore to work and is now attempting to sue Kaylin because of it.
From here, I just received the angriest message from a woman that I've ever received in my entire life. Evidently, she saw one of my office siren attire. Am I allowed to say that here? I don't know. Anyway, she saw one of those videos and she took it too literally, deciding to use one of those as inspiration for an outfit that she was going to wear to her actual job at the office. And she got fired. She got fired. And now she's threatening to sue me because she got fired, as if that's somehow my fault. Babe, I don't wear those outfits for fun. I literally wear them to get them taken off on camera. Yeah, I thought I made that pretty clear, evidently not, but you're on your own on this one, girl. I don't know what you were thinking.
The woman wore the outfit to her actual job at the office and got fired because of it. Caitlin reported, now she's starting to sue me because she got fired, as if that's somehow my fault. She wears them for her job as an adult model. I thought I made that pretty clear. Evidently not. She continues, but you're on your own on this one, girl. I don't know what you were thinking. So now let's take a look at what this outfit was that the girl recreated.
As most of you guys know, I'm in the middle of a lawsuit because a girl decided to dress like me, like an office siren, and got herself fired from her corporate job. A lot of you guys were wondering what she was wearing or what like outfit she copied. It was this one. I don't know if hopefully you can see. Girl. Come on now.
So essentially she's wearing a long form-fitted cocktail dress with black stilettos. The outfit does feel a little bit clubby because it's so skin tight. It would definitely depend on what company you work at and what their handbook says, but clearly this was in violation. And so you just have to be careful of that on your own. You can't depend on these TikTok influencers to know what the general vibe is at your company. And this also reminds me of a kindergarten teacher that went viral for the outfits that she was wearing in class. She also was wearing these sorts of bodycon dresses and people were saying it was inappropriate. She was completely covered, similar to this woman. Like the dress is completely covered, but because of the type of body she had, people said that it was inappropriate. It doesn't matter if you are covered up because maybe she was like, hey, well, I'm covered up. You can't see my chest. You can't really see anything. It's a long dress. Like, how is this a violation? But perhaps the problem was that it was tight. Who knows? This article says business formal is a bit more strict and conservative and features tidy dresses, slacks, skirts, dark colored suits and ties with minimal accessories. Regardless of the woman's company's dress code, there's no possible way that Caitlin is at fault for her getting fired. If she truly feels as though she was wrongfully terminated, then she should consider filing a lawsuit against her employer, not an influencer whose outfit she copied. Yeah, like end of the day, she is copying an influencer's outfit on TikTok and that is her choice. She made that decision, so she can't get mad when that outfit then gets her fired. Now, unfortunately, whether you agree with it or not, workplaces do judge your appearance. I know that Gen Z values their freedom of expression, but if their aesthetics or their looks violate anything in any way, shape, or form, it can impact how they're perceived by their boss, but also by their colleagues. And I think we get prepared for this with school dress codes. Not everyone had them. Some of them were more strict than others. Mine was very, very strict. And I think that this is kind of how they prepare you for the real world. You don't get to wear whatever you want, however you want to. And these dress codes aren't directly about shaming a person's chosen style. It's more so about understanding the setting that you're in. And sometimes the best way to do this is just by observing the culture, observing how other people dress, or simply reading the handbook. This discussion's also highlighting something that's bigger than fashion. It shows how Gen Z's expectations of the workplace don't always align with the current reality. I think that a lot of Gen Z's wants out of the workplace are reasonable. I've talked about them extensively, and I find that a lot of what they want advocates for a better work life. We've seen trends like quiet quitting, and this is where they sort of reject overworking without any direct benefit.
When an employee only does what's required, it's called quiet quitting. No, it's called doing your job. If I'm supposed to go above and beyond, then so should my pay. Don't expect something for nothing, right? Or does that only apply to poor people? Yeah, my employees show up every day, but they don't dress up like Santa Claus and bring me toys, so they're lazy. You're lucky that an employee does their job. I've done so little at work before that it wasn't even quietly quitting. It was technically robbing.
A lot of Gen Z wants a sustainable work-life balance. They want competitive pay that's going along with the cost of living. So I think that a lot of the discourse around work life is positive amongst Gen Z. But now their aesthetic culture within the workplace is sort of clashing with the reality of working in an office. You'll quickly find that workplaces don't care about trends. They don't care about personal style to an extent. They care about the results that you can bring them. Simply put, if you show up outside of the dress code, you can be fired and it'll be legally okay for them to do so, even if you are doing great work for them. But I do find that there's hope. It's not all doom and gloom. You can find places that allow you to dress in a more eccentric fashion. These tend to be places in the arts. Perhaps you work in fashion. That's something that you'd have to seek out if it's something that you really care about. Essentially, it's not completely out of the question. So my takeaway is that Gen Z is not wrong for caring about aesthetics. I think aesthetics are important. I think expressing yourself and being creative is definitely important. But of course, there's a time and a place. There still needs to be some form of balance. And if you do love this office siren aesthetic, you could still find ways to channel that energy in a way that actually works for the company that you're currently working at. Just take a look at the handbook. I can't stress that enough because no one needs to be getting fired unnecessarily, especially in this horrible economy. I think this is something that can be very simply avoided. At the end of the day, fashion is a form of self-expression, and it's something that is huge for me. I love fashion, but if you are in an office job, your job isn't necessarily about expressing yourself, unless, of course, somehow it is. But for the rest of us, it's about doing your work and doing your work well, because that's all these companies care about, let me tell you. So what do you guys think? Is Gen Z bringing too much internet culture into real life, or are workplaces just too rigid and outdated? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. Where do you draw the line? If you made it this far in the video, please comment the mermaid emoji. And if you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video essay.